All right, the New Orleans Saints have now won two in a row under interim head coach Darren Rizzy. And look, this team, I don't care what you say, I don't care who they're playing, the opponents, they look like a completely different, rejuvenized team under Darren Rizzy versus under Dennis Allen. I mean, this team looks is so much different. It looks like they're having more fun out there. They're playing loose. They're it feels like they're just actually trying again, to be quite honest with you. And look, I'm glad we won, right? I'm enjoying this win, but at the same time, it's like, man, it really makes you think. If the Saints would have done the right thing a lot longer or a lot sooner, if they would have just gotten rid of that loser a lot sooner, this season would have been. I'm confident in saying the Saints would at least be sitting at two, maybe even three more wins right now on the season if they just cut their ties a lot sooner and really not even have entered the season with Dennis Allen as head coach. So while I am enjoying the win, it just really makes me think what could have been, right? And mathematically, the Saints actually aren't out of things, right? They aren't out of things. But let's talk about the game a little bit. Cleveland Browns, obviously not the greatest team in the world. Um, but I don't care, right? I don't care because we just seen the Saints a couple weeks ago lose to the Carolina Panthers. So I don't care. A win is a win in the NFL. These are all NFL teams. So any win, you take what you can get, right? Taysom Hill, man, like these are the games that I feel like, let's be honest. The only people watching the Saints versus the Browns are Saints and Browns fans, right? And these are the games that I wish all the Taysom Hill haters, like the national media who still hates on the guy for his contract or whatever, these are the games I wish they would watch. That was basically Taysom Hill versus the Browns. The guy threw a pass, threw a pick, he fumbled a ball, right? He ran for a bunch of yards and touchdowns. He, caught a pass. He was kickoff return. He did so many things during that game, right? Caught a pass, threw a pass, ran the ball, kickoff return, fumbled a ball, threw a pick. Like he literally did almost everything you could possibly do in a football game. Like those are the types of games I wish people that hate on him would watch because like he was fantastic. He had like 7 carries for 140 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is insane, right? So you will never Taysom Hill. I'm gonna say it. He's a top 5 Saint of all time to me. Like in terms of my favorite players, top 5, no doubt. Um, look, like I said before, the Saints aren't mathematically out of it, right? So let's look at their schedule here. And actually, I want to take a look at this tweet from Ralph, who I follow on Twitter. This dude's funny. If you aren't following him, follow him, right? Check it out. Who knew firing Dennis Allen would result in winning games? Mind blowing. It's like everybody in the world could see this other than Mickey Loomis, right? Like, again, the fact that they waited so long to where the season was pretty much in the dumps already, it sucks, man. It really does because, like I said, if they would have just cut ties a lot sooner, who knows where the Saints would be sitting at right now? Who knows what the possibilities could be on the season? Do I expect them to win a Super Bowl? No, but I definitely think that they would have a better record than 4-7, right? So let's look over here at the schedule real quick, the remaining schedule for the Saints. So they get a bye week right now, which is huge, right? Going 2-0 under your new interim head coach heading into the bye week. You really can't ask for a better scenario given the circumstances, right? So 2-0, they go into the bye week. They get a chance to get some more players healthy. I know Eric McCoy, he returned today, but he also left during the game. So hopefully that's not too serious because he is a humongous part of the Saints offense. Like it's like night and day in terms of the run game when he's in there. Um, so they get the bye week, right? They get a chance to get some more players healthy, get some guys back out there on the field, which is it's humongous, right? And then they come back, and it looks like December 1st they play the Rams. Now the Rams, they've kind of been up and down this year. They've had a lot of injuries, like the Saints have. They've been up and down. This game, who knows, right? It could really go either way depending on which team shows up for both squads that day. And then they go and play the Giants. I think that's a very winnable game. Correct me if I'm wrong if you think otherwise, but I think that's a very winnable game. And then you got the Commanders and the Saints. Now, this one, easily, in my opinion, their toughest game left on the schedule for this year. Commanders, Jane Daniels has looked phenomenal in his rookie year. He's looked really good. Commanders sitting with a nice winning record. They just lost on Thursday Night Football, but that's going to be a tough game, right? And we'll just leave it at that. So, and then they play the Packers, another really good football team, but a team that also has not looked the best this year, right? Like they have a good record, but at the same time, it's like it feels like a winnable game for the Saints. It really does. Maybe I'm wrong, right? And then the Raiders, I think that's an extremely winnable game as well. sort of comparable to the Giants. And then the Buccaneers, right? Divisional game. That's our last game of the season. This could loom large, right? This could, who knows how the NFC South shakes out, right? Falcons, we've just beat them last week, and now they're playing the Broncos. I think they're down right now. Need the Broncos to pull through on that one, but look, who knows, man? I mean, NFL, we've all seen crazier things happen. They're sitting at 4-7. They could end the season at 9-8, 10-7, or worse, right? Who knows? Um, but yeah, good win against the Cleveland Browns today. It feels good to be winning football games again, and unfortunately, it might be a little too late, but Saints are back to winning football games, and I know it affects the draft, um, the draft stock, but I don't care, man. I just want to win games because I've talked about it before. Once you start to be okay with losing games, and once you start to be accept losing and being okay with losing, it's hard to come back from that. It's hard to come back from that as an organization. We've seen how long it took the Lions to become a winning organization, right? Even in the first couple years that Dan Campbell took over, they had a horrible, horrible record. But you see, once he started to establish that culture, that winning culture, that to get them guys to believe in themselves, to get players actually wanting to come to Detroit, they started winning football games right now, and they are an absolute buzzsaw at the moment. So, you know, another thing we got to talk about is what if the Saints, how many games they have left? One, two, three, four, five, six. Let's say they win 4 out of the next six, right? 4 out of their last six. They finish the season. What would that be? 8-9. Yeah, 8-9. What do you do? Is it a possibility they look at keeping Darren Rizzy full time? Is it a possibility they, give him the shot? Who knows? That's a slippery slope. We've seen that with Antonio Pierce last year with the Raiders. They fired Josh McDaniels. Antonio Pierce comes in and he's got the Raiders playing hype, energetic, and they beat the Chiefs. Last year towards the end of the season, and everybody's excited. You got the players advocating for him. Max Crosby is wanting Antonio Pierce, to be the head coach, and Mark Davis pulls the trigger and says, "You know what? Go ahead, be the head coach." And then now they look pitiful this year. They look horrible this year. They didn't go out and get a quarterback. They didn't really do anything to make their football team any better. So it really is a slippery slope when you in terms of bringing in an interim head coach that all the players love, but just because the players love him don't necessarily mean he's the best guy to take over the job um, permanently, and especially in today's NFL, like there are just so few successful coaches aren't play callers, um, who aren't play callers on either side of the ball and are still successful at being a head coach. The ones I can think of off the top of my head is John Harbaugh, Dan Campbell, and I guess you can count Nick Sirianni. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he has like a 42-19 record as a head coach, so he's obviously doing something right. But other than that, you usually see guys, calling their plays like Sean Payton, of course. But I'm getting off track here. Anyways, good win. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace.